Right at 11. I'm John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. And today, what is today? Friday, December 3rd.
Third, right. I'm Lloyd Allender, current president of St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. Thank John for setting this up for us every week. And so right now, Kathie Davis is not on. This is the call she's supposed to be on the first Friday of the month. We're hoping, we know she's gotten a lot busier now that the courts are back open. And hopefully this didn't drop off of her schedule. And she'll join us here at some point. So.
I think Kathy's coming in right now.
Oh, she is. I see her. Okay, so you're coming in. Okay, good.
Yeah, we still got some people trickling in. I think some people got a little behind because of our holidays. I know I did.
Okay. Hey,
Morning, Kathy. Good to see you.
Hi, everybody.
Good
How are
morning.
things?
Good. Yeah, we got a good number of people on here this morning. Wanted to hear from you on the latest in the court systems. So we'll go ahead and we'll take it for you.
Okay. We're kind of trickling back in. We're actually really busy right now. There's a lot of, there's always a lot of hoopla at the end of the year where judges change divisions. We don't have court dates the last couple of years and that kind of thing. And in the city, we're having a little problem because the outgoing judge doesn't want to give any more trial settings this year. And we don't know what the incoming judge is going to do. So we're making some deals. We're making COVID type deals with tenants to get them out of there or whatever. In the county, we're keeping our same judge, and that seems to be going more smoothly. We're not going to have dockets the last couple of weeks of the year because of the holidays, but he's given us sort of a blanket trial date of December 15th to try everything that we had from our docket yesterday and from our big docket next week. But new suits that are being filed in the city and the county are getting January court dates. And I'm pretty sure that's true in the other counties as well, but it's definitely true in our big counties. The associate circuit judges in the county are having a meeting this afternoon to decide how they want to handle dockets after the first of the year. The presiding judge has said that they're going to be in person, and the people are going to have an option to appear in person or remote. We're figuring that's going to be a mess for the first few weeks until everybody figures it out. But we're seriously hoping that more people show up in person because that's just easier and quicker to deal with them that way. I'd be interested to hear if anybody has any knowledge about what's going on with ERAP and SAFER. They don't seem to be out of money yet. People are still telling me that they're getting, money from them and they're being able to apply and that kind of thing. But it seems like there should be an end date or, they'll run out of money soon. Of course, with new variants, that kind of thing, who knows?
And just before you get that on, Anne left a little note in the chat that says she got money from SAFER, including 2 months in advance.
Yeah. Some people have reported 3 months in advance. One landlord told me this week that she had tenants that weren't even delinquent who got 3 months of rent just by applying. So this goes back to my old story of, I feel like they awarded more money than we needed. And so now they're desperately trying to give it away to anybody who applies. So, and I do think that the program is running more smoothly in terms of the time it takes to get the money and that kind of thing. Certainly in the county more smoothly than it was at the beginning of the year when nobody ever heard anything for months and months. Checks and funds are actually starting to arrive. We've heard that if people have judgments against them, they can go to the top of the list. We've had tenants ask us to enter a judgment so that they could go to the top of the list for their funding, which we're happy to do. And of course, when we get the judgment, everything is backed up by the idea that if you don't pay after a certain date, the sheriff is going to come. Not over Christmas, but shortly thereafter, Santa Claus leaves and the sheriff steps in. What else have I got? I think that might be about it. When we have this, Oh, I got to tell you that I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to be on a vacation the first week of the year. So unless there's a variant or, something else crazy happens, let me look at the calendar. I would be doing my once a month visit with you probably on January 14th rather than the 7th. If I get to be in the Caribbean.
Ooh,
If I don't, I'll be with you, but I'll be crabby. Just so you know in advance. Does
Okay.
anyone have any questions or comments or anything?
I have one about using Section 8 people.
Yes,
Because they're now required that that's not an exclusion. You can't exclude them.
right.
And that's all fine. But when we get a tenant who applies and they want to apply to rent from us, and they say, I need you to hold it for a month, we take a 1 month unrefundable deposit. And if they go to contract, then that becomes their security deposit. That's fine. But if they don't, they lose it after 30 days. Can we do that with Section 8? Because they're kind of slow right now.
There is no statute in Missouri that limits what you can take as an application fee. And an
And limited
application
to-
fee, so far, you can have a non-refundable application fee. The fact that you're willing to apply it to their deposit down the line is extra nice.
Okay, well, extra
Yeah.
nice has never got me in too much trouble.
Yeah. And you should know that we have that ongoing saga of the people trying to seal their judgments so that you can't see them on
Yes.
CaseNet.
Right.
Yeah, the new presiding judge in the county is requiring that all of those motions be brought to in front of her, and she is pretty much turning down those motions. I have one on for this coming up Monday, where the tenant is trying to seal 7 judgments at once, all for eviction from different landlords. I mean, how horrible is that, right? And so when we get in these hearings, I ask them after they make their pitch about how they can't find another apartment because they have these judgments on their record. I say to them, well, if the court seals this record and the landlord asks you if you've ever been sued for eviction, what are you going to say? Because they can't really admit to the court that they're going to lie and say we've never been sued for eviction. So there's a lot of stuttering and stammering and, and it kind of makes the point that if the court seals the judgment, it enables them to lie without getting caught. So in the county, the judge is taking a pretty strict line about not sealing these judgments. I think she'll do it for like people who have a stalker or domestic violence person or that kind of thing for safety. And we get that. But in the city, I think they're a lot more liberal about sealing the judgments. So again, I've said this before, be extra careful to verify with prior landlords and, that kind of thing. Don't rely just on CaseNet. And CaseNet is also very finicky about having exact spellings and that kind of thing. And I'm sure there's tenants that have figured out they can use their middle names or, identify themselves in different ways so that it's harder to find them. And some of them have names that are very difficult to spell. Okay.
I'd like to clarify what Dwayne just said. Did I hear him say that we cannot decline people that have Section 8? Because I don't have any Section 8 properties, but if they come forward with a Section 8 app, I have to take it.
There are
Yep.
some municipalities and the city of St. Louis, I think, has done this. I'm not sure about the county, that have said you can't discriminate against someone based on their source of funds, which means that you can't say, I'm not taking Section 8. But is another good reason to be extra careful in your screening and, that kind of thing. We're not sure how that would hold up. Nobody has asked us to sue on that, but we're pretty sure that, I would make 2 points here. First of all, during the last couple of years, the good Section 8 tenants, those landlords kept getting paid without interruption through all the COVID. On the other hand, and I feel like Section 8 is better than it used to be. Just as someone who's the enforcer, for landlords, and I only see the bad cases, it's not as horrible as it used to be. But, there's a lot of extra stuff with Section 8, extra inspections, extra bureaucracy, that kind of thing. We've tried to tell the housing advocates that they have to give the landlords a break and they want to whine about how there's no housing. Well, that's why, I
Yes.
wouldn't, I don't know if I would not take section 8, but I do feel like there's a lot of extra stuff for you. If you want
Yeah.
to do it. But there's some benefit. There's some benefit.
Mhm. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and to what you said, Kathy, there, they now have contracted out their inspectors to other companies, and they're not Section 8 employees that come around and do the inspection,
Is that better?
which I found that I thought it was bizarre. I mean, you just had a county inspection. That's what I did. And he checked all the windows, and then this other guy comes in, and checks the same windows. So I didn't understand all of that.
You may have seen that the realtors have launched a project where they've assembled all the building codes of the whole county, and they are trying to get something on the ballot to make this more uniform and make it be one thing and that kind of thing. And that'll help too, because as you know, these little municipalities are more like little, monarchies where they feel like they can enact any kind of weird rule they want to. And strange inspection standards, what we had going on in Normandy for a long time where, the inspections were very bizarre, or they get, they hire relatives and, people's daughters and, that kind of thing to do inspections. So I'd suggest that everybody get behind the realtors in their effort to standardize this and make it more professional and uniform throughout the county.
But that they're just dealing with what the inspection is, not necessarily what code is, correct?
They're trying to get a uniform code for the whole county. And if
Ooh,
you get if you get a uniform code, then you can't have an inspector making up new stuff on the spot.
true. But like up in Florissant, you don't have to put in expansion tanks on your water system because they know it expands into the city system anyway. And pretty much that should be true of all of St. Louis, but that's not what code says, national code.
Well, if we had one thing for the whole county, at least you would know, no matter whether you were in Northwoods or Florissant or Afton or wherever, what you were dealing with. My
That's true.
experience, my experience has more been with these municipalities that make up stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Try to put that in legal language.
Well, if it's a uniform code and the made up stuff isn't in it, then
Yeah,
hopefully
I
it'll
hear
be
you.
better. I mean, I think it's a good effort by the realtors. I'm glad to see it. So, okay. All right, everybody, have a good holiday. Call me if you need me. The last week of December, I'm going to be gone part of that week. Chris is going to be gone. And Christine is probably not going to be in a good mood. I'm just warning you in advance. So if you need me, try to get me before Christmas or after January 9th.
Thank you, Kathy, so much. Have a great holiday and
Thanks,
a great
Kathy.
trip.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, and anybody else wants to hang around for a little haves and wants session? A little networking, whatever you got.
So just real quick, Dwayne, on this issue that the realtors are working on, they've been working on it for a year, going to different municipalities and trying to figure out exactly how this is going to work. So it's not just a knee-jerk reaction to anything. It's they're working hard on it. There's the advocate for the Missouri or St. Louis Realtors is Charlie, and he's been working a lot on it. And Missouri Realtors has put a lot of money to support this issue. So, everything, I'm sure everything that they've thought of, they looked at. So I don't have the details, but I know I've been at presentations where they've talked about how this is going to work.
Okay, that's good. And but still, anytime there's, I didn't throw this in there, but anytime there's an inspector, some always like to interject their own opinion into things, even when there is a code that I've had one of my first experiences was the first rentals I had were in the city of St. Anne. And I had an inspector that he didn't like some cracks in my condition of it was a concrete parking spot. He had some off-street concrete parking spot. And he said there was cracks and it was sunken. And So I went out and I said, okay, and I thought that was kind of bizarre anyway, but so I went and got a couple bags of pre-mixed concrete and I filled in the low spots and I called him back for a re-inspection and he said, oh no, that's not good enough. I want you to replace the whole driveway. You can't just patch that. Fortunately, it was getting into late fall and I said, well, it's getting kind of cold to pour concrete now. How about I'll put that on my list to do things for the spring. And he went along with that. Well, later I found out that this inspector he was only part-time and he only worked in the afternoon because I would call after work and I got a hold of him. So after that, after that incident, I specifically called and requested a morning inspection. So I'd never get this inspector again. And I didn't have any problems after that. So anytime you got people involved, there's still going to be subjective amount of subjectivity, but at least if you got the written code and everybody's looking at the same set of instructions, that's should help that some. But no, anybody else? Hey, I was glad to hear from Ann. Said she put in the NB. She got some money from Safer. Anybody else gotten any funds since they loosened up? Should have had my son reapply because he's only been working half hours. They cut his hours in half. And I told him to apply, but he said he applied, but never had heard anything back from the city. He lives in the city of St. Louis. Of course, he was making sure his rent got paid every month. That was the first thing that probably worked against him. I told him, well, yeah, okay. I told you to always meet your responsibilities, and he did it no matter how tough it was. It would have probably been better off if he just skipped paying his rent for a couple of months and then applied for it. And his landlord would have been very cooperative. So, Raquel, I see.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
hi.
everyone. Yeah, I'm dabbling in on my work break. So sorry I'm a little bit late.
No,
But
jump in.
I really want to start jumping in. So I'm trying to get re-educated back on all the different real estate things. I have a little bit of money left over from my insurance policy from my brother who just passed away recently. And I want to start into some investment strategies because I want to come out of the rat race. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. So I have about 10 grand and I want to see how I can start investing that 10 grand and getting into the real estate market, start making things happen for my family, my kids.
Okay. Yeah, anybody got anything specifically for Raquel? That should be could be a down payment on a small rental. I don't know how much there is that 10 grand down payment. Back for I started with 10 grand. I borrowed another 10 grand in my down payment. So
Well, what about wholesaling with the signing of the contract? I'm
there,
not a wholesaler, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but something like that, can't she go into wholesaling, assign the contract, and she really wouldn't need a lot of money to do that?
you don't need money at all for if you're going to do some wholesaling. But that's another short term.
Yeah, it's a short term, but it would be a strategy to help me build some cash flow so that I can build up to that point of owning some rental that would give me some cash flow. Something to help me start where I can at least start getting some assets in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I understand. That's important. The earlier you start, the better off you'll be.
Jim's point's a great idea, wholesaling, or I would look at just getting a little education and doing something without spending your money. That's what I personally would do, is do that first and decide what you want to do. Because it sounds like right now, Raquel, that you're not real sure which way to go. So I would just learn a little bit and see what you really want to do. Do you want to be a
Yeah.
landlord? Do you want to be a wholesaler? Do you want to do notes? I mean, what do you find
Yeah,
out what
I
you
do
want
want
to
to
do?
know, the one strategy that I wanted to do is how you do that assignment between the buyer and the seller
Mhm.
that is like all on paper. Do
Mhm.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, your contract's very simple on a wholesale deal. You can find them online, or you can send me, I know you sent me a message the other day, send me one and I'll show you what I do with it. It's just a matter of wording. It's not a big deal, but I think you probably need to find out what you're passionate about, where you want to go with it. I wouldn't just be in a hurry to put something down on something and get yourself in debt without knowing that you want to be a landlord or knowing exactly what you want to do. I would at least have a vision of where you're headed.
I do. My honest vision, okay, it's a little scary for me, but my honest vision is that I really want to get into commercial real estate.
Mhm.
I want to own multi-family homes, and then I also want to own commercial real estate, that leases out to businesses. So I have three strategies. I want to do multi-family homes. I want to do commercial real estate, and then also like storage rentals. Those are the three things that I really desire to do. But it's like,
Mhm.
you know,
Well, I would suggest you go look at Brad Sumrock. Look him up. He's pretty easy to find. Brad, and I think his wife's Jennifer. He does the large commercial deals, which are large apartment buildings. That's all he does is large stuff. And there's different ways you can get involved with that. He explains it very simply. And in fact, I think he's one of the ones that Robert Kiyosaki went to with the Rich Dad Advisors or something. But he puts on a lot of things, and I'm sure you can find probably a 1-hour free training that he does somewhere. That'll give you a real good idea of commercial, larger, like rental things, and depending on how, because you can get involved with different ways if you're just a money investor, or if you're hands-on, or if you just find the deals. The money is always in the deal. So if you become a good deal finder and a problem solver, you'll always have the money. It doesn't matter if you get into commercial or whatever, residential, anything. But that's really what I've seen over the years, just become the problem solver. But look up Brad Sumrock, and I think his let's see, SUM, I think it's ROC or ROK. One of them is missing, but he'll be easy to find. That'll
okay.
get you a
Awesome.
real good idea with some stuff that won't cost you anything right now to look at it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for those suggestions.
Sure. Yeah, those are all good ideas that you got going there with storage and commercial, but they're all a different animal, and there's a lot of education on every one of them, including the landlord strategies.
Yeah, I've been back into listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, listening. It's like I'm, starting all over with trying to get my mind engaged, and now trying to get vision focused, instead of, I know I have to work until a certain period of time, but vision focused to turn things around for my family.
Sure. Yeah, that's good. Anybody else got anything want to talk about here today? I see Cyprian. Any good YouTube real estate channels to you can focus on? John's more into that kind of stuff. He mentioned Brad Sumrock, but
there's a million of them out there. I
Yeah,
mean, you just have to
there's
sift, sort, and separate through them. I mean, everybody's got a YouTube channel. You just have to see what, I'd look and see what what they do, and look at you can't look at dislikes anymore either, because YouTube recently changed all that, where all you can see is likes. It's a way they're censoring stuff, which is really just ridiculous, but they don't have dislikes on anything. And that used to be a big thing on how you would judge stuff. So you just have to go YouTube, you just go look at it. But yeah, I don't know. You're talking about multifamily. Again, Brad Sumrock is where I'd go look at, because he used to be like some kind of engineer or something, and he's got that down to a science on how he broke it all down, and he explains it very simply. So I would just suggest, if you want to go find out more about multifamily properties, that's a good place to to at least start.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anything else anybody has with strategies? I'm all open.
like the, John mentioned, used to be engineer. We get a lot of used to be engineers or still engineers that are members of our organization. So that's because in real estate, engineers are about the numbers and what makes numbers work. And we figured out that real estate, in real estate investing, the numbers work well. So I see Amber's got her hand up. What do you got for us, Amber?
So I had a question, and I apologize if it was already discussed. I was trying to multitask here. But yesterday I was watching the news, and did anyone else see the tenant who was on the news, who's I think it was her hot water heater or maybe her furnace. Essentially, something went wrong with it, and between herself and her two daughters, they had a issue with CO2, so they had to call 911. And really the question that I'm getting to is she recorded the tenant when she came over there, and essentially not the tenant, she recorded the landlord when she came over there, and she said, oh no, this is not my problem. I'm not fixing this. And the reason I'm bringing it up, because one of the really interesting things when I was listening to her speak is that she actually used some of the emergency rent money, and she's paid up through March. But then as the TV crew was there and she tried to get into the house to get some of her belongings, the landlord had changed the locks on her. So curious to just, amongst other landlords, understand what the thoughts were there as far as that landlord changing the locks on the tenant. She's already been paid up through March, and this tenant has nowhere to go because I believe the house is now, I don't want to say it's not condemned yet, but I'm sure that, the city has gone out and put a note on there and said people cannot live here until it's fixed. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. Yeah. Carbon monoxide is an issue. And all right, I've got carbon monoxide detectors in all of my properties just to make sure there's not an issue. In fact, I'm more attentive to those working than in my own house here. I still got the old style with it. I have to replace the batteries every year. I put the ones with the 10-year battery that the tenants can't borrow or disable in my carbon monoxide.
I can't understand why the landlord is not responsible.
Oh, that's just, yeah, no, they're just asking for trouble saying something like that. Yeah. They need to get fixed. I mean, that would jump to the top of my priority list if one of my carbon monoxide detectors went off in one of my houses.
I mean, unless it's a lease option and the tenant is responsible for maintenance, the landlord should be responsible.
That's
Well, that's a good point. I mean, they didn't mention that, but again, really where my head and concern is this tenant is paid up through March and now she has nowhere to live. So to me, the landlord owes her money back. So at least she can find somewhere to live.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Hey, Lloyd, I have a question for you.
Yes, Ann. Go ahead.
Okay, on that conversation of carbon monoxide detectors, we just buy that one unit smoke detector / carbon monoxide combo and put it up on the ceiling or outside the bedroom door, wherever. But as we observe, our tenants who smoke like to take those down. So what ones do you use that they can't disable?
I forget the brand. It is I got them at Costco a couple of years ago. They have the lithium ion batteries that are 10-year batteries, and basically the carbon monoxide, the whatever mechanism it is that detects carbon monoxide is only good for 10 years anyway. So the life expectancy, even one that you change batteries on, is only 10 years. So they put these lithium ion batteries in them now. And so they're good for 10 years. And after 10 years, you take them down and you put up a new one. It's a major name brand. I don't know. Yeah, somewhere in my files, I've got the
Yeah, we've just found that they take them down from the wall and stick them in a closet.
Okay,
I didn't think cigarette smoke was that sensitive, but for whatever reason, our tenants like to take them down.
if you got the combination smoke detector and carbon monoxide, yeah, this is probably the smoke that's taking causing it to set off, and not the carbon monoxide. So that's, yeah, and that's an issue, especially with the battery operated ones, and if it's a combination. Yeah, that's common. I carry batteries in, and when I'm going over, taking over a property after a tenant's moved out, I always have a handful of 9-volt batteries to go to replace the ones in the smoke detectors, because I know at least half of them are going to be gone, and that's a good time to refresh them anyway. You know, you got a good set of batteries in them. Because if I don't replace it immediately after the tenants move out, by the time I get the city inspector to come, he's going to go around and start testing them. There's going to be one of them. His battery's going to go out because it's weak and about to expire anyway. So just save myself the headaches. But yeah, with the tenant taking them down, that I don't know. Anybody got a solution for that? I don't.
Nothing you can do about it. I mean, if
Take the battery out, yeah.
well, I mean, if the smoke detectors were there and working during the
Working.
occupancy inspection,
Yeah,
they need to be responsible for changing the batteries after that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's
That
I don't
could
know.
be sent out, yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
I think one of the recommendations of the fire department is you change your batteries every 6 months. Like you do that when the time change from daylight savings to standard time and standard time back to daylight savings time, and that gives you two times a year that to change it. You could send an email or send a text message to your tenants, that especially if you think it's a problem, hey, it's time to change your batteries in your smoke detectors. And given that, I don't know what more you can do. I don't know. It probably has a lot more tenants to deal with than most of us. Have you got any magic solution for it?
Well, you're not going to stop them from taking it down. You just need to be covered yourself.
Yeah,
I do know of a property manager that down in Springfield who had a property fire, and first thing the fire department asked him was show proof that there were fire detectors in there. And he did, and he was covered. So what we do is we have in our leases that you are responsible for the fire detectors, for the batteries, and we check on our move-in inspection that they were functional, and the tenant signs off on that, and then you're covered. You're not going to get them to keep putting them up. So you've done what you're responsible for.
Yeah, you covered. You're taking your responsibility by making sure they're functional and documenting it when the tenants move in.
The only thing I'm got a question, and correct me if I'm wrong, I always thought the carbon monoxide detector should be lower because it settles, it's heavier than air. So I was under the impression those need to be mounted closer to the floor, not up in the ceiling like a regular smoke detector.
I believe you're correct. I don't know that the local code enforcement has that in their codes, though.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know that they specify where they are. The very first ones that I mounted it on close to the floor.
And I don't remember where it was, but I do remember that was in, because we deal with all the different municipalities, that was in the code, that it had to be within so many feet of where the source would be, the garage, the water heater, the furnace, wherever it could come from. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. It'd probably be best closest to the source of the potential sources of carbon monoxide, the garage or where the furnace and water heater are located.
Just one other note there. Someone had sent me a recall notice on Kitty, I think it is how you pronounce it. It's a very popular brand on smoke detectors and CO detectors. They had been recalled maybe 2 months ago. So you should probably, if you know, that's because I think in 2 of my properties, those are the ones that I remember specifically buying at the store. So just, you may want to double check and see if your model was recalled.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, I did hear about a recall on some kitty products. I don't think that was a brand of the one that I've got though. It was, I said, don't recall what it was, but yeah, that is a major brand. So chances are pretty good that you got a kitty smoke detector or combination smoke and carbon monoxide detector. Oh, anybody else got anything want to talk about here today? I was going to ask Sandra. I say she looks like she dropped off. Right. I was going to ask her if she got a contract.
Lloyd,
Yes.
this is Kara Maley.
Hey, Kara. Hi.
Hi. Again, asking if any members or non-members have a house for sale in North County with 4 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms, under $200,000. I have a tenant that has outgrown the house where they're in and they're looking to buy.
Okay.
My phone number is 314-836-3797. Again, 314-836-3797. Does not take text, only voice messages.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you talking about it at our last in-person meeting too. You brought it up.
Right.
Kara has a good tenant, and I thought they were looking for a rental, but now apparently they've qualified for some financing, and their family's grown, and they've outgrown her rental, and so she's looking for a 4-bedroom house in the Florissant area, preferably to purchase.
Preferably, but yeah, North County or St. Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And they would consider an option to buy also.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, so possibly lease with an option to buy or outright purchase of 4-bedroom house. Okay, up in North County, St. Charles. So if you got one of your rentals you're ready to sell and part with, maybe this is a good way to do it. Find a good lease option tenant. I know that lease option folks are hard to find. I always advertise my rentals as a lease with an option to buy, but I don't hold out for a good lease option tenant. I'll go ahead and if I get a good qualified one that is just looking to lease, I'll do that. But I do have one of mine right now is I got a lease option tenant in one of my rental houses. So far it's working.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kara. Yeah, hopefully we can find somebody for you. Yeah, if anybody,
Yes,
4-bedroom in house the way you want to sell or lease with an option to buy. Give Kara a call and leave a message, 314-836-3797. It's Kara Maley, one of our longtime dedicated members, good landlord. She takes care of her folks, even when they want to move out of her place. She's still looking after them. She's the kind of landlord you wish you had if you're a tenant. So. Oh, anybody else got? I started to say I was hoping Sandra would. I was wondering if she had a contract under her little place on up in Normandy, I think it was on Colfax. She had a little house up there. I looked at the picture of it. It was a nice, cute little place. Really nice, solid house. And you do Google Street. It was nice. Got a nice street up in North County.
Lloyd, on the
how big is it?
I was only a 2-bedroom, I think. Yeah, it was a small house, but it was a cute little place.
No.
Yeah, Bruce, go ahead.
Yeah, on the internet, I put it in the chat. It just said that you should probably have the CO2 detector at least 6 inches from the ceiling. I guess that would cut down on false, alarms, like when somebody burns something or has too much steam from the shower. And it talked about having a CO2 detector within 15 feet of a bedroom door. And if you can afford it, even up to 10 feet within range of a bedroom door, I guess, to be more safe, because that's where people usually are. Well, I guess most of the time, if there's a fire at night, you want to alert the people so they get out of bed and get the heck out. So they suggested that, and there's other suggestions for basements and other stuff, depending on how big a property somebody has.
No, well, actually, in St. Charles City, at least, they're required a smoke detector in each bedroom, each sleeping area. And then one on, at least a minimum of one on each floor, basement, first floor, second floor, if you got.
Within the bedroom?
Yeah, within the bedroom. Yeah, it's required in the bedrooms.
Well, that means if you've got the bedroom door closed, the fire has to actually make it into the bedroom before the detector will go off.
Hopefully, if it's coming from the basement, your ones in the basement and the first floor will go off first before the bedroom's on the second floor.
Yeah, yeah, but then there are people who smoke in bed sometimes still too. So
that's true.
Yeah, you got that angle.
No, and you talk about being 6 inches down from the ceiling. That's not because for any false settings. There is kind of a dead area there where air doesn't circulate so well.
Right. Yeah, like the eddies.
The ceilings, and even on the ceiling, you don't want it up close to the wall. You want it away from the walls, because smoke and fumes tend to go and don't follow up. Sharp corners. They billow out.
It's like if you had 6-inch molding or something, that would be the same as the airspace created by.
It's more than 6 inches away. I think the St. Charles Code says something more like 18 inches. I put them at least 8 inches away from on the ceiling, away from the walls.
Okay.
And I locate mine close to the door. I come like the door is in the corner of a bedroom. I'll go 18 inches in from the door and 18 inches over from the wall, and mount it like there. So if something creeps under the door, it'll hit that, early on before it reaches the rest of the bedroom.
Yeah, so that could add up to a lot if you've got them in the bedroom and outside the bedroom and whatever.
Oh yeah, I got to take a pack of batteries with me. Like I said, when I got a 4-bedroom houses, takes a lot.
Yeah.
To cover all.
And you can buy the multi-pack of smoke detectors too, which I've done.
I buy the multi-pack of smoke detectors, then I buy the big packs of batteries that cost. That's where I buy.
You have to have them that are carbon monoxide and smoke detectors, because those are different particles, right?
Yeah, they are
So
different.
one of each.
2 different
at least.
detectors. Some manufacturers are making them now where they're combined. Like I said, because of the situation with where you got tenants that could knock them out for the smoke detector, and they're also losing their carbon monoxide detector. Like I said, it's mine. I think I put mine in before the combination were very common, and then when I found out go ahead the ones with the 10-year batteries in them, I just bought those. Now I don't have to worry about it.
You need to check and see if it's required. Not every place is requiring.
They're not required in St. Charles. I put them
they're not required everywhere.
Just because Costco had a sale on them and say that's some pretty good insurance against heavy carbon monoxide. Jeez.
There's something in the chat for you.
Oh, what's that?
Somebody wants
What was the last call I had? Okay, I missed. Hold on. Let me get up here looking at. Okay, the number. Who's looking for the 4-bed? That was Kira Bailey, and her phone number is. That was as somebody's asking for your phone number, Kira. So I'm giving it to him. It's 314 836-3797. Let's see, there's something else in the chat here. What's, John? Anyone have a good source to find out more about turning a home into an Airbnb?
No.
Well, I do not. There probably are. You could probably go on YouTube. But then that it's by a municipality, so you need to check with the municipality that see if they have any local regulations against the Airbnbs or what issues you might run into. I thought about doing that with a condo. Well, the last rental I bought was a condo, but they, like most condo associations, they have regulations against having short-term rentals. They do. In fact, a lot of condos don't allow rentals at all. I specifically picked a condo here in St. Charles that did allow rentals, but they don't allow short-term rentals. And there's ways of getting around it if you just want to get around it. But eventually, people are going to figure out. People in your neighborhood or in your condo association or whatever are going to figure out that they see a new car in the driveway every night or every weekend. They only show up on weekends, and they're going to get to wonder, seeing different people coming and going with suitcases all the time. They're going to figure it out. So, also looking for a plumber. Anybody got a plumber? I use just for general things. Trio Plumbing. I recommended them before. I first got associated with them when they were putting a couple water heaters for me, and that I purchased at Lowe's. They do all the Lowe's water heater installations. I think maybe somebody mentioned the Trio. Oh, okay, there Bruce says. Yeah, he does. Yeah. They're good. Or Lee May Plumbing does a good job. And Bruce uses them. So Lee May Plumbing and Trio Plumbing are two companies. There's another little one here in St. Charles that I've used for my last bathroom remodel. Trio said they would do it, but they wanted me to do the demo work, and I said, no, okay. So I found another plumber that said, hey, they said, yeah, they would do the plumbing work. And I said, would you do the demos? No, but they had a contractor that they worked closely with. And so that's who I ended up going with, a general contractor that worked with this plumber regularly. He ended up doing the demo. They came in and he demoed and set the tub. The plumber came in the next day, did all of the plumbing, connected the tub and roughed in all the stuff in the walls. And then he came back the day afterwards and set the walls back up. I did a 4-piece tub shower enclosure installation. That worked out well. I was trying to think of their I'm forgetting that. Having a senior moment. Like I said, that's the first time I dealt with them, and let me check to see if I can pull them up on my contacts. In the meantime, anybody else got anything?
Does anybody have any good ideas on how to do the 1031 exchange? I guess we've had some lady who talked to us years and years ago about how to do it. I was figuring I needed to probably exchange 3 or 4 properties in the city and move into one or two or more single families or properties in South County. So I don't know if anybody else had an experience with that and had some suggestions.
Yep, many years ago, that's how I got rid of my properties in the city. I sold my last 2 families and exchanged them for our 1 single family house in St. Charles. And that's how I transitioned it to all single families, and I've just been building on that. Yeah, here the other one in St. Charles. I'm not sure where you're looking for a plumber, but Custom Plumbing is called. It's kind of a generic name, Custom Plumbing, and they're located here in St. Charles, but I'm not sure how they might do other work in other areas. That's their number is 636-494-0067. That's a small company here in St. Charles. Okay, yeah. Here. Thank you, Bruce, for you put the phone numbers for both Trio and Lee May Plumbing in the chat. So yeah, the only thing that you have to remember on you're doing an exchange, there's just you can use a standard contract when you sell your properties. There's some standard wording, and I can forward that to you, Bruce, that you need to have in each of your contracts for the buyer or for the contract you sell and the property that you buy to replace it. And the fact that you have to have I use an intermediate. There are people that have intermediary, do just intermediary action. They keep you in the right track, and they tell you what kind of contracts to use and everything. I just put the standard language in my contract, and I use investor's title to handle it, and they will act as an intermediate along with doing your closing for you for an extra $750. They'll act as the intermediary. I know my very first one. I think I paid. I didn't go to investors. It was another title company that my realtor would use regularly. So I went with them, and they charged $750. And they went, wow, okay, that's quite a bit. When I did my second exchange, I went through investors, and they said, "Yo, sure, we hold your money. We can hold your money for you in an escrow account." They didn't charge me anything the first. Like when they caught up, other title companies were charging $750. They jumped on the bandwagon too. It's for extra services they provide. But so they're doing it now too, and I think that's fairly standard. In fact, some of the companies might be charging more than that these days. But there are intermediaries. I can probably send you the name of one. I talked with one when I was considering it recently. But yeah, the Heiser is used an intermediary when they do their one. They bought because they bought a condo down in Florida. All right, a condo. I think it was a house down in Florida. They did some exchanges for their rental houses for having a rental house in Florida.
Hey, Bruce, I've got some information. I don't know how up to date it is, but I can email it to you if you give me your email address.
Yeah.
Just put it in the chat. Good, and I'll email it to you in a little bit.
Okay. Well, nobody has anything else. That's.
Whoa.
Hey, can we end on a kind of a funny note here?
Sure, please do.
So we've got something, we have an adverse possession case going on, and it's for a piece of land that is deeded for public use, and this owner has been using it for 30 years, so they're trying to get it. And so part of it was it had to be the suit had to go in the newspaper, and there was a it was the property owner versus the general public. So I just got this email from my attorney that said we had a call this morning from Troy, who was responding as the general public in the petition to vacate. He was upset that we named the general public when he was the general public and has nothing to do with this. Like, okay, you had nothing to do with it. It's just general public, but he's general public. So he was not happy that he was named in this. Takes all kinds.
Yes, it does. Yeah, when I had to get a zoning variance to put a deck and a sunroom on the back of our house because it was the last house that built in the subdivision, and they squeezed too big a house in onto the lot than it should have been there. So there was no room to even put a deck on the back. So I had to get a zoning variance. So they had to send a letter out to all of our neighbors within 300 feet. And just to verify, we went around and talked with some of our close by neighbors. We went like 2 houses on either side, see if anybody had any issues that were going to show up in the city when they had their, because they had to apply for a peer. We had to have a hearing in the city council. And somebody said, what the hell do I get this in the mail for? What do I care about what you put a build on the back of your house? But I already heard that. Okay, thank you for not caring. But so I know you won't show up in the city council meeting then. Yeah. Anyway, apparently some people must be showing up for the cell tower that they want to put up in the back of a church property near my house, which I would love to have. If they have it up again, I'm going to go say, yes, we want it because I got lousy cell service at my house. But probably the neighbors, I'm suspecting the neighbors in the neighborhood right in back of that, and a lot more expensive houses than I live in, don't want to have a cell tower looming over their rooftops. So, because it's gone up twice and so far we haven't got a cell tower. Anyway, thank you for that humor, but I hope everybody has a good next week. I guess we'll do this again next week, John. Just having a habits at once.
Yep, we sure will. Just Kathie, not till the 14th,
Yeah,
apparently.
We'll see
We're
Kathie
good.
for another little over a month. Okay, well, catch you all next week then. Have a good week.
Okay, you too.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
But